So the piece of art that I chose is Woods Road, March Snow by Amy Silberkleit. And I wrote a poem in response to that. And in the poem, I describe Tonglen, which is a Buddhist meditation practice. It's a practice in which you like breathe in the pain and suffering of the world, and then when you exhale, you breathe your energy into the world. Woods Road, March Snow. The trees hold snow carefully, like children with ice cream cones that could topple. I trudge one heavy boot at a time through this precarious world. My breath vibrates against folds of wool. I'm still seeing the headlines, the news, the deliberate tragedies in endless scroll. It's difficult walking through heavy snow. I rip off the scarf to breathe the violent cold deep into myself. I breathe out great puffs of energy and warmth. My muscles loosen under the layers of fabric. I know others have walked here, women fierce and beautiful, women who stand tall, women hunched and crawling, women armed with pens and laptops, women carrying bread and candles, women who link arms, women who walk alone, women who dance and twirl, their arms outstretched, women who tiptoe, who shiver, women who march, who scream into the wind, women who bang on the desk with a gavel, women who swallow their own broken stories, women with jagged holes torn in their hearts, women with songs they whisper, women who gather themselves and keep walking. I glimpse them in the shadows. I want to breathe in their pain, their sorrow, celebrate their joy, their courage, their resilience. I exhale into the icy air. I walk with them.
This is offered in response to Zia Beckwith's Sitting Room 2019 by Janet Fagal. The impossible loss of being. I heft a book from the coffee table, Chiluli's garden installations, mesmerized by beauty and art, color, design, and innovation. I soak in every image, globes, flowers, starbursts, chandeliers, both intricate and fragile, nestle among nature. In one, tall, teasing tentacles surround giant lily pads. Their merged elegance deceptively permanent. A photo drops from the pages. A sad room, decrepit, stares back. Paint chips and dust define the space. A couch, almost regal, and surely from a more hospitable age, sits among the crumbling detritus of this once elegant place. In so little time, lives and art, homes and gardens, seacoast and woodlands decay. Their past forms too soon, eclipsed by loss. Busy, we barely notice, like smashed bits of glass sculpture that can never be made whole. We ask ourselves, what happened? The peeling paint and weeping walls hide our inner sobs. We circle our memories to keep from fading. Nothing stays the same, is the answer on the wind. Not the air or the sky, nor distant stars. Only one thing counts, it whispers. Only one thing survives, and that is love.
The name of this story, based on Michele Vair's Along the Hedge, is called Okna Antijrima. It's a short story, and it's based on a true story. Ben and I will go to the market for fruit and meat for the Lunar Year celebration, my Cam Tran told her mama, and I'll make a bouquet of yellow and pink blossoms. Mai loved the Tet holiday and couldn't wait for the festivities. Mai knew war all her life in Vietnam, yet the Tet celebration was her people's most important holiday. At 12 years old, she was used to congratulating her family. Before she was born, they came for her grandfather. A decade later, they came for her father. He was discovered in a mass grave with no apparent injuries. Officials surmised that he was buried alive. Her family learned to flee south from village to village at a moment's notice. Mai Cam, her mother, brother, and grandmother landed in Saigon. The adjustment to noisy, crowded city life was tolerable with its availability of food and jobs. Mai's mother worked long hours at laundering American soldiers' clothing. With hair wrapped in a long braid, straw hat for heat protection, she alternated one of two dresses each day. Mai loved her mother and her calm acceptance of life, including tragedies. She hoped to grow up with her mother's wisdom and beauty. Mai's older brother, Tai Tran, scrubbed dishes and pots for an officers' club. Speaking little English, he sweated over a large sink with mountains piled up, kitchen help brushing by him. Mai's grandmother, Bin, weakened by the long journey to Saigon, did her part by preparing family meals. Trudging to the market, bicycles and honking horns whizzed by the stooped women with raisin-wrinkled skin and painful gait. A sea of pink peach blossoms and yellow Okna intergerima, a 4-petal flower, lined the streets. They bloom early in January to remind the people that Tet is here. It is a merry time to celebrate the legend of a kind, brave girl who fought a monster to protect the villagers. She wore a bright yellow shirt in battle, and her courage touched the gods. Although she died while fighting, she was revived every new year to visit her family and village for 9 days. When her parents died, she was transformed into a flowering tree bursting with Okna intergerima. The Vietnamese believe that on Tet holiday, the flower has the power to banish ghosts in the coming year. Together with the peach blossoms, the flowers kept families peaceful and healthy. Mai Cam was born during the important Tet holiday. She was named Mai, meaning flower, and Cam, meaning orange fruit. After school, she helped Bin prepare Bon Chung, sticky rice cake, Jiao Cha, Vietnamese sausage, candied fruits, melon seeds, and a most impressive 5-fruit tray. In South Vietnam, it was difficult to find oranges, Mai's favorite. So they used mango, papaya, pineapple, and coconut. Tai surprised her with 3 oranges that he bought from a vendor near the officers' club. Mai squealed with delight at receiving her beloved fruit. This will be the best holiday ever. Before the celebration, darkness and tragedy erupted. The city filled with heavy smoke and ricocheting bullets. The Viet Cong successfully maneuvered simultaneous attacks from North Vietnam, pushing south through over 100 outposts. Their surprise assault on Saigon lasted for 3 days, killing civilians, overturning jeeps, and bombing buildings. American soldiers from the U.S. Embassy were caught off guard. Immediately returning fire, they waited anxiously for orders. Private Timothy J. McKenzie, early in his Vietnam tour of duty, had hid behind a streetcar, exchanging gunshots. Shooting toward a barrage of shells fired at him, he tried to avoid screaming women, boys, girls, old, young, fleeing the streets. He found it difficult to spot the enemy in the mass confusion. The soldier crawled to a doorway of the officers' club. Making his way inside the club, he resumed his fire from a window. Clouds of dust and gunfire smoke created an eerie, spooky feeling in the city. What Private McKenzie saw next did not make sense. A young girl in the street ran straight toward him. What is that green object she's carrying? Is that a grenade? He was warned that the Viet Cong used children to lob grenades at American soldiers. He aimed his gun and yelled, hoping that the girl would run in another direction. Instead, she sped up toward him. When she was within firing range of hurling the grenade, his rifle fired. "No!" screamed Tai, racing out of the officer's club to the ground, cradling Mai Cam's head and rocking. Mai smiled at her beloved brother and shut her eyes forever. Mackenzie stood and stared at Tai in his grief, bullets soaring around their bodies. Through the fog of smoke and dust, he looked down at my hand that had released the grenade. Mackenzie shrieked and fell to his knees, hands cupping his face. He remembered that Vietnamese oranges were traditionally green. Mai's body was brought home by American soldiers. Mama returned from her day's work in the laundry and was met by Tai, Bin, and her lifeless daughter. Long braid, neatly tied down her stiffened back and with straw hat firmly on her head, she quietly gazed at my cam, unable to breathe. She knew that this war would somehow consume her family. Many Vietnamese families were caught in the throes of hostilities. Mine was a 1968 Tet Offensive casualty, its collateral damage. Her grave was decorated with yellow okna intergerima to honor the day she was born and to keep demons away.
I was inspired by Penny Santy's painting Dancers. And at the time that I saw it, another friend of mine's mother was dying and she was helping her. And somehow in my mind, the Dancers became the title of my poem, which is Transformation. When she is broken glass, when all her sharp edges bleed you ragged, you stay. Her life ripped from her grasping fingers, your hair is the only thing left she can pull. You, who entered the world between her legs, through the arch that shoved you into your first hitched breath, are all she wants. She doesn't hate you. It is the dying, hard for a mother to leave her daughter. So she butts her head between your breasts, bites at your heart, pointed teeth, while you hold her, whisper, my boobs are soft. I've got you, Mom.
Also known as goose. I'm a goose, plain to see. Police. Feathers, check. Long neck, yep. Beak, check. Water, yes. Waves, a few. Movement, graceful. Eye, partial. Colorful, very. What does very mean? Alarmingly vivid, poignant. Orange-webbed feet hidden beneath the water. I'm not in a hurry, waiting for my lover. Been together 3 seasons. He's a keeper, honkin' hot. I'm happy today. Gentle breeze, everything's fine with me. So this is my response to Stephen Pearlman's Monemvasio, Greece. And the title is Me Speaking into a Megaphone. Please remove the orange boxes. Kindly take them away now. The day, the view, the sky, the water, the mountains, and the plump tree abundant with green leaves are alluring. The boxes have to go now. Where's the tree trunk? Obscured. So much about this scene is right. Large orange boxes, incredibly wrong. Even if I sit on the bench to meditate, listen to water, feel breeze, smell fish and seaweed deep below, I will know what's lurking behind me. I will be unable to concentrate. I know. The object of meditation is unsee. How can I unsee these frickin' huge orange wrapped rectangles with cords littering the ground? They block the birdhouse. Or is it a lighthouse? Who knows, for God's sake? I want to see water, rocks, life, nature. Perhaps it would be easier if I were blind. I wouldn't see them. I'd feel, smell, listen to the water, enjoy the day, count my blessings. But kindly find the truck, person, machine, woman, groundskeeper, whoever is responsible for placing these giant orange boxes here. Take them away promptly. Thank you. Have a great day. Are they gone yet? For real. Sun barely visible in opaque sky. Blurry scene with trees lined up in order, oldest to youngest. Water, quiet, melancholy. Brightest object, sun, or is it moon's reflection? We know it's our earth, our heavenly body, our world, yet can't discern season, time of day, or why artists wanted to present gloom to get our attention. How would we feel in a monochromatic world of thick sky, cluttered water, unable to tell night from day? For real.
So my first one is called Gradations Across a Solitary Plane. And this is an ekphrastic response to William Stevens' amazing work of art. Most of you know I lost my son recently, and it spoke to me immediately. Sometimes the world's colors are too bright, and you traverse a charcoal limited palette of density, a vista, or perhaps a seascape, if that body of water is indeterminate, foaming, cresting waves in the distance, nearer than you think, with the partially clouded moon still above your head, not reflected at your feet as Dante, the poet, found in his unholy descent. You have no guide, like Virgil at your ready, to orient you, lift you as you traverse this achromatic landscape without purpose of revenge, like Hamlet, with his inky cloak and suits of solemn black. Though your darkness weighs on your shoulders and shades surround you, as you intended, with all forms, moods, and shapes of grief denote you as surely as Shakespeare's Danish prince. Yet there you are, setting out mystery, rebellion, fear, questioning, immortality in this recognition of loss, but without cowardice, shown on your journey with shadows roving, as philosophical as Pascal Quignard, and as immediate as the wounds on your hands and feet, now lost through absorption of visible light. You walk, knowing there is no predestined path, only suggestion of horizon, possible break, leading to where? To color without hue. When you lift your weary head with effort, you become aware of presence, those who came before you, perpetual. On this impossible passage, qui vive your past, before you understand this doubt as progression rather than regression, you are in process, becoming, even in the leaving. My next poem is called Artifice of Art, and this is an ekphrastic response to Joy Muller.McCoola's amazing work of art, sculpture. I've written about rocks before, our subconscious desire to return to our mineral state, but this recent confrontation with what appeared to be an artist, Cairn, before me, speaks in dissimilar tone as well as voice. Contrivance of her funeral cairn, made not from minerals crushed in heat formed over millions or billions of years, but an arrangement out of something entirely ethereal, through artifice of artist, weaving wet felted wool into stone shapes, then covering roofs with silk to color and layer texture over surface, pulling one creation atop another in the way ancient Celts and American Indians piled rocks to signal boundaries, to guide, to point toward constellations, to navigate rivers by balancing sandstone and granite along a stream bed, on a natural outcrop of an island at the heart of a river, or to point out trails and to mark their dead. Artist always deconstructing and composing. Joy Muller-McCoola dyeing fleece a yellow hue, painting blue streaks on white absorbing fibers. Temporal design of mock stone weighed against eternity, or more precisely, as eternal as 4 billion years feels to a human lifespan in this clever trick of light and substance. Trope of the act of creating is the subject. Realization, signification, and altered perception from soft substance in masterful strokes, made to the mind's eye, hard, eternal.
I'm reading Lorraine's poem, Train Ride, which she wrote in response to Terry Plater's landscape Dyptich, France. The train's chant, Zusha, Zusha, roars up from steel driving hard over steel. Wheels press against rails, mile after mile, exhaling each colon mark between abutted tracks. Ghostly etchings appear across sky like apparitions of transmission lines to a world beyond, but are unable to bear messages or carry voices we can hear. Scenes flick by exposing spent fields, specters of barns, a windowless home. There in the midst, deep shadow cradles a sun lake, brilliant with starfire melted into meadow bare of clouds pink and gray, where hay flattens and mortals, warm and illumined, plant seeds, watch rainfall, kick up earth dust. We evolve, acting out our contracts with heaven, shifting back and forth between sun and moon, moving from light to dark and back again, until each joy-filled, heart-wrenching detail is satisfied, knowing the train never stops. My poem is called Lines for the Present Time, after Shirley Penman's Jubilation 2019. Let us dare to reach for joy. Too long have we delayed. Now is the time. Embrace fluidity in our pathways and journeys, in our choices and how we pursue them. Take upon us our past and present, reframe our future, reimagine our bridges and boundaries. Engage the canvas, black, white, gray, bronze, and brown, young, old, and in between, soft voices and loud, the known and the unknown. Reclaim wisdom, compassion, and patience in the pursuit of peace and upbuilding one another. Jubilate, let us shout for joy. Too long have we delayed. It's called Letter to Carter. Blue Ribbon winner Carter Stanton, Otsego County Fair by Wesley Bernard. Dear Carter, oh my, you are growing up. We received your photo today, and we are so proud of you. Remember this day, Carter, the crowds, sawdust and noise, the smells and quiet in the barn overnight, how you walked the ring in your blue shirt and Paw Patrol boots, how you never let your brown eyes waver from the rules. And now, as you look straight into mine, it is clear to me, you are a formidable contender, whatever the prize. Hold fast to those who stand with you, walk with you on the paths you will choose in life, finding your way, discovering all the things you can do, taking your place in the world. Hold fast to your ribbon, Carter. Favor the color blue. Savor your victories. There will be many. Love always, Grandma.
I'm going to finish with my poem, When the Body Tells the Story, And this is an ekphrastic response to John Fitzsimmons in The Deer and Oil on Canvas. When the body tells the story, woman floored, right hand clutching, not simply holding her knee. Position of her awkwardly bent fingers show tension even more than her weary, wary look out of one eye, the other covered by shock of reddish-brown wild hair against bright green, indeterminate background there for contrast in mood and tone, as well as coloring, there to absorb blows. Demarcation, scar, on her forehead between her eyebrows suggest her troubles started long ago, even before this latest incident, after which she slumped to the ground, defeated but not done. Her gaze intense, not looking at anyone but everyone. Her mouth open, not in the way that models are instructed in order to appear suggestive, open as if about to speak, but words refuse to form, too hard to say what needs to be said. Oil on canvas too real, too raw to be a painting, except we know. We see loss in lack of definition of her legs, distorted by angles in blues, her blues, now ours.